Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this Tuesday morning. Got a great show lined up as always, but first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. The most interesting feature on the weather today is going to be the water temperature. We're going to have a drum roll because it is busted on 90 degrees. It's 90.1, the hottest it's been all year. 90.1 is the Gulf water temperature according to NOAA. All right, on air temperature, that's hot, folks. That's really, really warm. Okay, now the air temperature is 87, high and low is 78. Now, did some research. Weather's on my mind, because we've had so much rain and all. In fact, I want to go ahead and mention the rain we've had. Normal rainfall for the Panama City area is 61 inches. We've already had like 49 inches just in the first week of August, and we still have plenty of time left. So we're going to go way over our average. So it's going to be fascinating watching what's happened. But I don't know. We've all talked about rain. It could be down at Howard Creek or up there at the Funiac Springs. We've all had a lot of rain. So I just wanted to look up statistics and all to prove that, and sure enough, we have. Also, while I was looking stuff up, I found a couple of interesting points. They consider our hot period in Weather Service, National Weather Service says from May 20th through October 1st is our hot season, and the average temperature is 84 degrees at that time. But overall, in the whole year, for 12 months, the average high temperature is 78, the average low temperature is 59. But the average temperature in Panama City for the whole year would be 68 degrees. It seems like it's a lot warmer than that. Let's go to our river readings from Sand Hill Seafood sponsors this each day. And we're looking at Apalachicola, Bluntstown, 5.2, and it's sort of staying steady like it has. And Choctawhatchee at Caryville, check it out. It's sort of up and down, and it's going to be sort of peaking out at 8.1. Choctawhatchee has been high. Most of the summer has been pretty high. 8.1 on Choctawhatchee and 5.2 on the Apalachicola. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn and Funeral Home and Cemeteries. We're looking at a high tide at 3:54 and a low tide at 2:39. Today's August the 15th, and I always almost shudder when August 15th has just been embedded in my mind since I was a young kid, and because not a young kid, when I was in junior high school, because August 15th for many, many years was the beginning of two-a-day football practice throughout the state of Florida. It was just August 15th, no matter what. And back in those days, you didn't have a lot of training to get ready for summer. So August 15th, everybody dreaded, oh no, August 15th is here. So today, back in the day, we'd be in 2 days, and it was, as I look back on it, it was I don't know how some of us survived. We were at the phase where they didn't give us a lot of water or anything. We'd have a little Coke bottle of water, and the coach thought we were soft by drinking it. But anyway, times have changed for the betterment of that. All right, let's go to the marine forecast coming out west-southwest at 5 to 10. Be right back. All right, welcome back. So glad you're with us on this Tuesday morning. Got some pictures here. Let's start off with this one. We're going to close out on this year's tournament. Here it is. That's Wendy Colson, Tony Bass, myself, and Jimmy Crowder. And it was just, you see the looks on her body, it was just a happy occasion. That was a 30.2 pound king mackerel. We caught it a twin. Also, you saw it at 29.8 ounces. So it was really, really good trip. We caught those back to back. And it was, I told you about a storm we got caught in. It was just a unique tournament, but as always, what a pleasant experience it is around all the other guys who had to weigh in and all. And Jimmy Crowder, we've talked about it. Here he is, presenting a check. And next year, we're talking about it. We want a lot of people going and presenting. That we want to hit a $1 million donation to the Leukemia Research Foundation. We all feel good about that. So I just want to show you the picture. And we're supporting our new Panhandle Outdoor shirts. And we're real proud of them. Next picture, Robert David Whitfield. This was at Friday night at National Wild Turkey Federation at the big banquet we had. This is his nephew, Philip Riley, picking up a new shotgun. He won the Youth Turkey Challenge back in this past spring. And let me go and mention about the National Wild Turkey Federation banquet we had Friday night. The committee did an outstanding job, really large crowd, a lot of people there. We got to sit with Joe Tyson and his wife and Mickey McCormick and his family. We just had a table full of fun people, and food was just outstanding. You know, I got to, you know, they do a good job cooking, and just a great. Like I said, so many people. I told Gail, I think I knew, honestly, about 90-something%, maybe. I might have known everybody there, and it was just because there's a lot of good folks there, and all, you know, and they raised a lot of money too for the local chapter. So it was a good time, and congratulations, Ken and Stan, on the hard work you and your committee did. All right, let's move on. This picture here, let's see now. I got several coming. Some of these are sent to my phone. Good morning, Coach. This is my nephew, Chris Baxter, after his first snapper trip aboard the Fishing Express. That's down in St. Joe. Everybody on the boat limited out, and he and I both had blast. Thanks for all you and your staff bring us in Panhandle Outdoors. And see, I think I got another. This is Mark Gibson. Let me enlarge this picture so you can see this young man here. I'm sorry. We get it going. There you go. Mark down there at Howard Creek. Thank you, Mark. All right, now, this is interesting. Okay, back in 1980s or the 60s, whatever year you're going to put on it, basically, I killed a 6-point buck this year. Your buddy. What do you say? Wow, congratulations, man. But now in 2017, me killed a 9-point buck this year, your buddy. What'd he score? Gun or bow? You think you need another year? Any sheds from him in the past 3 years? You have any bigger bucks on trail camera? What'd he gross? How big was the antler mass? What'd he rank on your hit list? You know, and sometimes we could put too much emphasis on these horns and everything and size of them, and it's really, you just kill a nice buck and that's it. I mean, it's just fun. I thought that was really interesting to draw that conclusion there. David Rich, down there, Rich's IGA, that's 2 fine snapper there. That's a good job, David Rich. Janet Limmock's Blitch, one of my former students here, blue crabbing. She picked up crabs today. Crabbing is in now. Had about a dozen blue crabs, and that's her daughter Bella. And you see they had a nice meal right there. Good job, Janet Limmock's. Okay, Victor Hascoat from our West Bureau out there. Victor went out yesterday afternoon. Terry, David, and Pasha. We caught reds and trout. Pasha had a couple of nice ones over there in Choctawhatchee Bay. Good fish there. Thank you, Victor Hascoat. Kevin Gooden sent this in a Panama City Fishing. Folks, this is right off the pier now, 33.4 pounds on the M.B. Miller Pier. That is a fine, that would have placed 3rd or 4th at the Carabel tournament, fishing off the pier. There's some nice ones there. And our buddy William Jones up there around Alpha, he went down to Port St. Joe Marina and look, he's got 2 flounder. William's good about catching those fish when they're biting. Me, Billy Grantham from Sneed's, and my son-in-law, Chris Pavick. My son, Matthew Grantham, Cooks Bayou. They fish in Cooks Bayou, and Cooks Bayou's been productive. Nice fish out of there. That's a pretty place to fish, too. 2 nice ones there. Thank you for sending that picture. Good picture. River cat, this is Frankie Niles, caught a river cat fish. Here it is right here, flathead. We're catching them all over the Panhandle. Okay, all right, that takes care of the picture. I did want to mention the school starting. It's already started in a lot of our areas. It's starting this week here in Bay County on Thursday. A lot of things going on. I always mention this every year as a driver, slow down a little bit when you get in school zones and watch out for not just kids walking and stuff like that, but watch these teenage drivers. They get excited going to school and sometimes may not be looking all around like they should be. So just drive a little more careful, especially at the beginning of the school year. And speaking of school starting, I always want to put a pitch in for the outdoor ed program. I appreciate Coach Brian Wilkie continuing the program at Mosley High School, and I urge you to try to get it put in your school system. The outdoor education program is now recognized by the State Department of Education. It is on the list there as an approved subject. It's an elective. And don't let the principals, don't let administrators tell you or the district office tell you they can't put it in. They can. I've been in education 40 years. It can be put in. I can promise you. They got to want to do it. And number one, they got to want to do it. And they got to understand it's good for our kids. And I cannot tell you how good it is for young people, the outdoor ed program. And I put it for seniors only because it became a senior privilege. But it can be taught to 9th graders any way you want to do it in your school system. and they say, well, it's too late this year, but they still can do it second semester. They can be flexible. I just want to urge you to do it. It's just our young people need to learn about the outdoors. We're losing it, and we're losing it fast with young people. I can see it all around. So again, a big shout out to the program there at Mosley, and I know other schools have tried putting it in too, so we appreciate it. It's better. It just makes our community a better place in the long run. Okay, let's take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I always thank Jeff Peck. He's over here giving me a countdown and all kinds of stuff. He's always on the ball to keep me straight. And we wouldn't have the program, it wouldn't be for two other people, Jeff Peck and Gail Chester. They do most of the work. I just sit here and run my mouth, which I can do. Coming up soon, not this weekend, but next weekend, Mexico Beach Artificial Reef Association, their big annual Kingfish tournament. King Mackerel first place is $3,000, second place $2,000. The Wahoo division, the Spanish Mackerel division, and all that money goes to a good cause. That money actually goes to, we talked about it before, building all those reefs out there. It's really fascinating the amount of Mexico Beach is a role model in reef building, okay? Now, I was thinking, we got the eclipse coming up next Monday. Unless you've been in a cave, you've heard all about it. I mentioned the other day, and now remember, it's a solar eclipse, not a lunar eclipse. I think I alluded, it might have been, I was hoping it would have clear weather that night, but one of my viewers emailed me right away and reminded me it's a solar eclipse, which I knew that, but I just maybe didn't come across with the right information. But anyway, with that being said, I've been thinking, how's that going to affect game and fish? That's just the way I think. That's the way I'm wired. What's going to go? So I started doing some research on it last night. I know a couple of hours reading about it. It's fascinating on different kinds of research you can find on it. There's not a lot of research, and I want to go ahead and mention it now. You need to actually, if you can go ahead and get set up and see how it's going to affect your animals. It might be just a cat and dog, or some goats outside, or cows, or whatever, or birds, and just do your own little study, because they're really asking for input and all, from different people. But I do have some documented research. I'm not going to put anything in this hearsay, and how the eclipse is going to affect. And this is from studies done in the past. The first one I run across with birds, and that's something I'm going to study, because we have a couple of bird feeders, and they're always, we have a healthy population of birds. They're coming in all the time. So I'm going to watch and see how it affects them. But here's what it says. Here's what the scientists say. They say the dove now, the dove and the other songbirds, they'll actually stop feeding, and they say they'll become silent, and some of them will even start roosting, their roosting habit. They'll start getting ready to go roost and all, because they think it's nighttime. So I wrote that down, and then when the eclipse goes over, they'll start doing their morning songs. So that's going to be fascinating. Okay, that's on birds. Spiders. Okay, so the research has shown the spiders actually will start taking down their net, their web. Okay, they'll start taking it down, and when the sun comes back out, they start putting it back up. That was interesting. Bees. Now the bees, what the bees going to do? They're going to actually go back into the hive. And then when it's over, they're easy to study. I got pretty good evidence on them. What the bees will do, when it's over, the scalps will go back out. A couple of scalps will go back out, and find some nectar and all, come back in. But the rest of the colony won't go back out the rest of that day. That's fascinating. Okay, that's the bees. Now frogs and different things, and mosquitoes. Actually, they say the mosquitoes, they've documented mosquitoes actually start swarming and getting ready, so you don't want to be outside during the eclipse and get bit. Okay, farm animals, that's just in general farm animals. They're just sort of go into protected areas. Like it's getting dark, and they'll start going into protected areas. So that's the game now. Let's talk about fish. And bass fishermen, of course, first one you run across. And of course, this was not a scientific study. This is just a lot of guys that bass fish. They said their experience is they'll actually go into a feeding frenzy, especially on top water. Now, this would be interesting to fish some top water during the eclipse. I'm not going to be able to do that, but if some of y'all can do that, get set up and see what happens, because it does make sense, because it's going to get dark, and they're going to see that top water action. So that's what a bass fisherman. Now, the reef fishing at the Galapagos Islands and places like that, they say what the reef fish will do, they will actually they would become, they're feeding up in a column during the day, they're up there feeding, and when it starts getting dark, they just start retreating down into the crevices in the bottom and all like it's nighttime, and then when they come back out, they just creep back up. So it does affect them in a way too. And let's see, one more. Over in England, this is a 1905 study. This is the oldest study I found. And they said the fish become, this guy said in 1905, which is over 100 years ago, in his opinion, the fish become ravenous. They start really feeding and start eating a lot when that happens. So anyway, that's according to the all the studies out there. Not a lot of studies, but that it does have an effect on them. So I would encourage you to go ahead and plan, get set up and all. And I'll tell you what I may do. I may set up some camera somewhere up in the woods or something and see if anything's happened, if I know. But in my yard, I'm going to watch the birds and see how they react to it. So you watch your cows and goats and pigs and whatever kind of animals you can observe, especially if you're fishing that day. A lot of people will be fishing on Monday because a lot of people take off a Sunday, Monday. So if you're fishing on Monday, it will be interesting, especially if you're bass fishing and trying that top water. And I'd like to hear back from some of y'all and see how it goes on that, okay? All right, let's take our final break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at our fishing game time for today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. We're looking at 6:57 to 8:57 this morning. Good time to go. 7:25 to 9:25 this evening. And speaking of the eclipse, let's take another look at it. This is the first chart I showed last week, but Jeff and I were talking what time it's going to show around here. So let's look at Nashville, because that's about north of us, closest on this chart here, about as close as we can get. Nashville is going to be like at 127, so we'll be close to that. And we're going to get, of course, they're getting like 100% up there. We're going to get supposedly around 80-something% here. 82%, I believe, of an eclipse. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going, like I say, going to start. It's going to be fascinating watching it. Okay, but anyway, that's speaking of different times and all. So anyway, I want to go ahead and mention. We're talking about different personalities and different things, and we keep up with all kinds of people. And I talked about Glenn Campbell passed away last week, which was, he'd been sick a while, but. I always read people's biography and all. I thought a quote that sort of stuck with me. He was one of I forget how many kids. He had a big family in rural Arkansas. I want to say at least 10 kids in that family. But he said his dad always told him his best advice his dad ever gave him was, I wrote it down. He said, "Be nice to folks and don't cuss." And now, that's pretty common sense. That umbrella covers a lot of good advice for young people today. Be nice to folks and don't cuss, because that was really good. And a lot of old sayings. Joe Tyson and I were talking, and you might want to share some of your old sayings, because a lot of these old wives' tales turned out to be so true. Like I say, Joe Tyson and I were at the National Wild Turkey Federation banquet Friday night. We were talking about Howard's Creek, and the Saws Creek in particular. And I know this time of year, I think I showed you last year a video of all the yellow flies swarming. We were in the truck driving down. There were like hundreds of them around the truck, and they're bad this time of year. The yellow flies and the dog flies, that's the darker one, the same family. But he brought up a good point, and I've heard this all my life, that they're really worse around the creeks that have dark water creeks, where it's sort of dark in there. They can hide really good in the dark water, not a lot of brightness, and the noise brings them out. Like really, my truck driving really, really slow, that I don't know if it's heat from the engine or the noise, but it makes them swarm like that. So, be aware of the yellow flies and dog flies this time of year. Okay, a couple things I want to go over also. We were looking, let's get back. Tomorrow's show, I'm going to have Bill Allen and Greg Brudnick are going to be on. They're going to talk about their recent trip with their wives and two other couples. Their 4 couples went down to Steinhatchee for the whole week, and they're going to give a report. And it's fascinating. We've talked about the scalloping down in that area and all, and I'm going to show you. I want to show you the chart. I got to looking at it, thinking about it, because Bill said they didn't go in and get them like they thought they would. Because let's look at the chart again, because we got Gulf County, which is St. Joe Bay. And then we got Franklin Waukulla, okay, and then Dixie. Franklin Waukulla would be around the Carabel, and that area down there between there and Ocklawahney. But Taylor-Dixie would be the Steinhatchee area, okay? So what I want you to look at in the year 2016, that's when Gulf County only found 2 in the triangle, but look at Taylor and Dixie County in 2016. They found 189 right there in the center of the page. But look at this year. They were off 2/3. They were down to 62. So, you know, that's a 2/3 of a cut. And go back to 20, just stay in that column of Taylor and Dixie County, which is Steinhatchee. Go down to, in 2014, they only found 18 in that triangle. And look at the variance just, you know, in the last last 7 years, how the numbers, how they change and all. And then look at over here, Franklin-Waukulla County in 2014. They found less than 1. That's the smallest number of any test they've done ever. That was 2014. But look at the next year, came out of 79. So it's fascinating watching these studies. But St. Joe, and again, we talked about it before, the number of people and all are doing it. So that's what's really knocking a hole in it. So many people out there doing it, and you know we've talked about it before. But anyway, Bill and Greg's going to be on tomorrow talking about that. It'll be interesting to get their input on it and what they picked up. It was a good trip they had. Anyway, let's move on now. Mullet, I saw some mullet jumping again yesterday afternoon, and listen, they're growing, and you know they're going through that cycle. You know they come back called reruns in January and February to come back through in their cycle, and then they start feeding in March and April, and they feed all summer. They're really getting healthy. They're getting some fat on them. Get a taste is coming in. So I've heard scattered reports. A few people are catching them, just a few. There's a handful of people in a couple of holes are catching them. They're not quite there yet. This is still August, but in the next couple of weeks, they're going to start filling out really good, and the row coming on up in September and October. Mullet cast netting is going to be really good. I really look forward to that each and every fall. So I know some of y'all enjoy it also. All right, got to start wrapping things up. As always, we appreciate you watching Panhandle Outdoors. Always send in pictures and keep us posted on what you've been doing and show us some of those things, and we'll share them with everybody in Panhandle. If you do something good for your fellow man today, you have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.